the best of our knowledge and ability and care to really analyze our situation and find all the best solutions that we possibly can.
We customize what we do to what you need. Pioneer Bank and Trust is local.
Visit blackhillsenergy.com/811. If you're looking to tackle any do-it-yourself projects around the house this weekend, remember to call 811 before doing any digging. Black Hills Energy reminds you that no matter how big or small, every digging project warrants a call to 811. It's free, it's safe, and it's the law. Visit blackhillsenergy.com/811 to learn more.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in South Dakota. This is sportsmanship. School sports, it's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying your first home or maybe upgrading to a home that you will really love? Real estate is an important investment that you want to get right. I have been in the business of finding the right home for 15 years. To get started, contact me, David Brenneman, at 415-0044. Let's open the door to your new home and say hello to a goodbye with me, David Brenneman, at 415-0044.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City. This is the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
We are Fox Sports!
And here's what you need to know.
The NBA's play-in games get underway tonight with two Eastern Conference games. 6:30 Eastern tip-off for the Hornets taking on the Pacers. Pacers guard Karis LeVert will miss the play-in game against the Hornets because of the league's health and safety protocols. So the Pacers and the Hornets will be followed by the matchup between the Celtics and Wizards, which tips off at 9 Eastern tonight. The National Basketball Coaches Association has voted Suns head coach Monty Williams as the NBA's Coach of the Year. Under Williams, the Suns earned the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, finishing the regular season 51-21. Phoenix also earned its first division title since 2007. NFL news, the doctor who operated on the left knee of Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow says he is fully healed, or should be fully healed, by the start of the regular season. Cincinnati opens 2021 September 12th against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm Deb Carson.
It's time for the only live and local sports talk show in the Black Hills. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and local sports. Exclusively on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City. And streaming online right now at foxsportsrapidcity.com. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories, welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate.
Well, good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's always a great day in the Black Hills, and we are ready to go. A little thought-provoking sports talk, a little bit of entertainment. Not much. A little bit of entertainment. We'll have some fun on this Tuesday. Thanks for locking it in, being a part of the program. The Nate Brown Show, back from our downtown studio on Fox Sports Rapid City, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, and also stream us there, foxsportsrapidcity.com. The audio there, video on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. You can find us, subscribe, would appreciate it. You can watch us on your tablet computer and also on your phone. Easy to do on Twitter right there, at Nate Brown Show. However you're listening, watching, welcome in on a busy Tuesday. Really good guest lineup. We'll get to that. The Nate Brown Show brought to you by our partners, Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, the expert care when it comes to bone, joint, muscle care. Stay in the game of life. Whether you're a weekend warrior, an elite athlete, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts are at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, online at bhosc.com. That's Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. On the Tuesday docket, let's take a look. Dan Swartos is going to drop by. A major discussion on high school sports in South Dakota. How was the COVID year? What does it look like moving forward? We're going to get into sanctioning. We're going to get into high school football. A lot to discuss with Dan Swartos. A little state of the state of high school sports in South Dakota with Dan Swartos. He's the executive director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association, so he's live here tonight. We'll talk to him. Also, FCS national champion Casey Keeler. He's been on a big-time media circuit, and he's going to drop by the Nate Brown Show. How about that? He was on the Paul Feinbaum Show yesterday, and we got him today, the Sam Houston head coach. So reaction to the Bearcats head man, Casey Keeler. He won a title when he was at Delaware. Now he wins another one here at Sam Houston. Casey Keeler with reaction to that game, the FCS title, South Dakota State, and what he thinks of his star wide receiver in the scenario, Jaquez Ezzard's getting a lot of attention. Also just got news, the Sam Houston running back entering the transfer portal. When we talk about some of these high-profile players being on the national scene, was that an impact there? Sam Houston running back just entered the transfer portal this afternoon. Head coach of the Bearcats, Casey Keeler, coming up. National college sports writer Chris Hummer is going to join us for the first time. He's with 24/7 Sports. He just wrote a big piece on some pretty big news this week. If you're not aware of it, there's a big meeting tomorrow with the NCAA Council. This is the big dogs, okay? The council. They got to look at name, image, and likeness. Where are they going to go? Because states are already implementing it just over a month from now. Florida, Alabama, some of these states implementing name, image, and likeness endorsement deals for college athletes. You got some states going on their own, and the NCAA sitting here going, okay, how's this going to work? We'll talk to Chris Hummer, 24/7 Sports. We'll break that down. Then from Sioux Falls tonight, Craig Maddock drops by, South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Craig Maddock and the Rapid City Rush back in town this week. They get going tomorrow at home again, and they're trying to get into this playoff mix. They're just on the outside looking in. Key games at home with head coach Daniel Tatro, and he's on tap as well. Let's throw out the number. You can join the program today, 720-1067. If you don't know, now you do. Get on in. The Boss Pizza and Chicken Sports Line Live, 720-1067. We'll have some fun there. And also on the Barron's Wilson text line, 720-1067. Direct text the show as well. A lot of sports headlines today. One that gets my attention here. In the college sports landscape, I was talking just last week how some universities are cutting sports or trying to drop down levels, right? Trying to drop down Division I to D3. That's what the COVID problem has provided for a lot of universities. And it's so interesting this week, today, as a matter of fact, we get two big headlines here, which is Stanford, which was going to cut 11 sports, including wrestling. They were cutting it, right? Just couldn't quite afford it, the whole thing. Stanford has reversed the decision. I love the announcement from the president. Well, there's an increased optimism, he said, in fundraising opportunities. So what goes on here is what I just explained last week is I believe this, that sports are the doorstep of any university, and I don't care whether it's wrestling, rowing, whatever it may be. I'm going to tell you some of these Olympic sports are still vital to a university's educational mission, especially when you're a major university like Stanford. And I always tell you, football, basketball feed the bulldog, and you're seeing some universities even thinking about, okay, should we drop down a level? Should we do this? And it's my contention that they don't see the big picture. And surprise, surprise, Stanford is smarter than me. They're really smart. Stanford's really smart. They didn't even see the big picture in, hey, yeah, we kind of make ourselves known as being the number one place for college sports. We have all these great sports, 36 as a matter of fact, but we can't even manage it. We can't even manage it at Stanford with all of our money, all of the things that we have. So we're going to cut wrestling, even though we have a national champion wrestler too. Yeah, not bad, right? Pretty good program. We're going to cut some of these other sports, and nobody's going to worry too much. Nobody's going to worry too much. Or do they really think that? Because the matter of fact today, an increased optimism and fundraising opportunities. So we're going to bring that back. We're going to bring those back. And then on the heels of that, this one's not getting as much attention, but Clemson. You know Clemson, the $132 million athletic department, that Clemson, the football powerhouse, that Clemson, they quietly were just cutting track and field and cross country. Just quietly, Clemson was cutting men's track and field and cross country. And it turns out after they made that call, the athletic director's kind of been going through some issues here. The athletes were getting pretty fired up. There were supporters of those programs getting pretty fired up. There was some lawyers getting involved with the situation as well, saying, is this discrimination? What's going on here? Clemson's going to cut men's track and field and cross country. And it just somehow figured it out at Clemson that they're also going to retract that opportunity. They're going to keep men's track and field and cross country. No, somehow they're just going to be able to afford it there at Clemson. So the point being here, this COVID problem throughout the past year, the COVID mess throughout the past year did what? It allowed certain universities that were always running up against the red line. They were always running in the red anyway. It allowed many of the universities and presidents of the universities that some don't like sports as it is. Oh, that may surprise you. Some don't like sports as it is. It allowed them to say, yeah, we just can't afford this. We just can't afford that. And then it got into the debate, well, maybe these sports even shouldn't be offered at even a Clemson, even a Stanford. And I don't buy that for a second. I've always said some of these programs, by the way, at Clemson, some of these, whether it's a baseball program, a track program, whatever it may be, a lot of these athletes, they're getting there. It may even surprise you. Some Division I baseball players, there's been some baseball programs cut. Division I baseball players, they're not all on full rides. That may surprise you. It may surprise you. Even big boy baseball players, they aren't all on full rides. What does that mean? They're still paying that tuition. They're getting a scholarship of some sort, and they're paying the tuition of the university, and the university's just fine with it. I've always said there is support, and the universities aren't seeing the big picture. I've always said Stanford wants to sit here and say, we just can't quite manage wrestling and all these other sports. And then they just got bombarded with support saying, oh, okay, there's new optimism around these sports. Yeah, we're fine. Clemson, some lawyers got involved, some people saying you're going to cut track and you got a $132 million budget. They said, I think we're okay. They got to make sure they see the big picture with this. And that's what I say about sports in college. Do we keep sports going as an educational mission of the university and the front doorstep and the promotion that you can get from the basketball and football's number one? Or do you see it as a line item? Yeah, it costs us money, so we're going to eliminate it. And I relate that to, what if we did that with high schools? What if we did that? We don't make money on high school sports. What if people thought the way we're thinking with some of these college programs? I don't buy it. It's part of the educational mission and a key part of that in high schools. I believe that. We don't make money off of it, but all of a sudden now we're flipping that around in college. If we don't make money off this sport, we should just cut it. I don't buy that. And I'm as big a football, basketball fan as there is. I also believe in the other sports, especially if they have support like they apparently do at even these big universities. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
See, you're still putting Hartford in with the Stanfords, the Clemsons, and
I think it's a bad decision. That's why I'm putting it in there. I think it's a bad decision.
Have you looked at the attendance records for Hartford?
What does that matter? I don't want to drop D1 to D3. I don't want to drop
Who's paying
D1
to go see Hartford.
Who's paying to
Their
go?
own
Who's
people
paying to go
aren't
watch
even
rowing?
going.
Who's paying to go watch rowing? Nobody. Nope. Are you still
Hello?
there? Are you still there? I lost you.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Sorry, I lost you. Go
There's
ahead.
10 schools that have rowing that doesn't have an that isn't an Ivy League school.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Just what I'm saying.
Pick 10 schools?
Why
What do you
pay
mean?
for a sport?
The deal is this. The
Like
deal is
rowing.
this. It's like South Dakota State. They have a massive number of sports. They don't cover all of those. I mean, they have a massive number of sports. South Dakota State does it the same way. They want to get students into those sports into the university. It is an attraction. It is.
Yeah, I think you're stretching it there.
No,
But it is good news about Stanford. Well, Hartford, come on. I never heard of them until you started talking about it, and I had to go look it up.
I told you, you'll never hear of them again in D3. They'll be off the map.
You'll never hear of them again if they stayed in D1.
Yeah, you would. They're going to be back in the tournament. They're going to draw more students into the university. That's where I'm coming at it. That's where I'm coming at it. It's a much bigger picture if you're D1 than D3.
You could be right, but honestly, Hartford got lucky. Okay, and I'm sorry. Out of the 130 teams that were in the NCAA tournament, they were probably 127th.
Let me ask you this.
Which means that we have 60 too many teams in that tournament.
Let me ask you this. Is it a good thing that a Clemson keeps track, a Stanford keeps, I know you're a wrestling guy, a Stanford keeps rowing, wrestling. Okay. Is that a good thing for colleges?
For them big schools, yes.
I believe it
Clemson,
is.
How
I
can
believe
you
it
not
is.
have a decent track team in your location? That's like, if you watch baseball, the Big is horrible. The Big Ten's just horrible, okay? But you watch SEC baseball. You watch some other divisions down there, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, to name a few. That's great baseball. California, my God.
See, I'm always careful, though, tying success to keeping a sport around because it's cyclical. It's cyclical. Clemson may have a good track program in 2 years. They may not. I always careful tying success to should we offer the sport because I look at does it get kids to a university like South Dakota State having all the sports that they do? I believe it does.
I mean, look at high school sports. I tell you what, Nate, 10 years ago, that them ramps would be full at Tech.
Yeah.
For a high school football game. Now, you don't. I mean, there's a third of the people.
But I don't want to get into cutting high school sports either. I really don't. That's not, it's not all a money game.
I don't want to cut high school sports either. Our wrestling team, 2-time state champions. I mean, you're lucky to have 70 people in there.
You always got to be careful. Line items, and you know this, line items or what it does for the students in the school.
But high school sports compared to college, high school sports are very important. I don't care how horrible you are as an athlete. You should go out for at least one sport.
Yes,
okay,
and I agree. And I believe that still holds true in a lot of colleges.
Make that a family.
I still believe
college,
that. I believe that's important for a lot of colleges. I believe it is.
Oh, it can be.
Yeah.
But you're a number then, Nate. It's just like the NFL. You're a number. Look how many star wide receivers, I'll just use that position, in the last, let's say, 7-8 years that got released, let go. I'll use the Pittsburgh guy, Antonio Brown. I mean, my God, that guy can catch anything. But how many teams has he played on? Who really wants to be his teammate?
I will say this, though. The moral of the story, Stanford, they don't make money off these sports, but they made a bad decision by trying to cut them. That's what I believe. I believe ADs were looking for an easy way out, and now it's starting to backfire. I believe that.
I kind of went and looked at these sports that they were letting go, and then I bioed the coaches. 7 of them 11 coaches were conservatives politically.
Oh, you think it went there? I don't know about that, but
Hey, I'm just saying, if you go into these bios and then check their social media, 7 of the 11 coaches, wrestling being the biggest, were conservative politically.
I don't know about that, and I don't think everything's political these days, but I do know the ADs were looking for an easy way out. That's what I believe. Clemson, Stanford, whoever it may be. And
that's ridiculous when them big schools trying to drop a sport. Now, somebody like Hartford, they're probably doing the math, buddy.
That's a mistake, too.
And that's why.
That's a mistake, too. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
It could be. I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Nate.
All right. I got you.
All right,
appreciate it. Thanks for getting in. It's just an example here. Just an example. This was a opportunity for colleges, I believe, because I've been just talking to a few folks. Yes, this was an opportunity. We were running in the red in this program, and this program, and this program. Maybe we should just cut them loose. And you do more damage doing that than the savings you think you're going to have. I mean, when you really break down these numbers, these sports aren't costing an arm and a leg. Many of these sports that they're cutting, track and field at Clemson, it's a drop in the bucket. A drop in the bucket. And Clemson, let's cut men's track and field so we can, what? Buy another hot pool for the training facility? What? I mean, it's about the same when it's all said and done. They're trying to look at certain ways, cut this, cut that, do this. I don't buy that. So I sit here and I'm a football, basketball guy. You know this, okay? That's the main hitting revenue sports. I get the game. The deal is the other sports at colleges, to me, still important pieces of that educational model that the business of college sports now is trying to overlook. The business is we got to make all this money. And now that leads me into my next topic. Believe me, we got to make all this money. And then the next topic is that what's holding up the name, image, and likeness debate for the individual athletes? That's the scenario tomorrow. The meeting's happening with the NCAA Council. Guess what? They're not likely to recommend passage of name, image, and likeness legislation. Oh, that's the reporting from CBS today. The meeting's tomorrow. The NCAA Council not likely to recommend passage of that because, again, we're trying to look at, okay, what do we have to put in place so we don't lose on this, and we got to make sure we make more money on this. And you try and see things from a line item scenario, just like Stanford. They didn't think this was going to be that big of a deal. Well, it was. Cutting wrestling and the other sports, 11 sports, it was a big deal. They had to backtrack today. Clemson, $132 million athletic budget. Cutting men's track and field and cross country, just a bogus move. And they backtracked on it as well. And I'm going to stick with this. Whether you're a small school or not, South Dakota State, the reason they have a lot of sports, they have a lot of sports at SDSU. It gets students to university, to your university, to experience your university, and a lot of them are paying tuition with a very small scholarship on the back end. Might be a surprise to you. There is a business move there as well if you play it smart with a sports department, getting students to your university. And that's where I believe Hartford's making a mistake going from D1 basketball to D3 basketball, an afterthought, and putting your university in a whole different category. You're not in the game anymore with attracting that type of student. Coming right back with Chris Hummer, college football writer for 24/7 Sports. He's got a big story out about name, image, and likeness today. States are moving forward with it. So who's going to run the show? The states, which the new law takes effect in some of these states July 1st? Or is it going to be the NCAA stepping in saying, we can't have athletes making money in this state and not in others? What's the story today? Chris Hummer, 24/7 Sports on the way.
You're listening to the only only live and local sports talk show in the Black Hills. The Nate Brown Show on FoxSportsRapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, we let our customers do the talking.
Very well-maintained tire and speed shop, over-the-top service, and very reasonably priced. Need I say more?
Scott and crew at Terrell Tires have always gone over and beyond for us. Great prices for great tires. Also, anytime we've needed odd-sized tires for ranch equipment, Scott gets us what we need.
Great customer service. Spent plenty of time answering all of our questions, and the truck looks awesome with the new rims.
Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, 105 North Campbell Street, Rapid City.
We have all learned lately that our homes are our sanctuaries. And at Renewal by Andersen, many people invest in our windows to keep out the bitter cold. But they're often thrilled when it's blazing hot outside, and their Renewal by Andersen windows are keeping their homes so cool, with much lower utility bills. Renewal by Andersen windows make life at home so much more comfortable, whether it's 10 degrees below zero or 100. We can't control outside, but we sure can inside. Invest in your home now with Renewal by Andersen. You'll be glad you did.
Insurance. We all need it to protect our homes, health, businesses, and belongings. But having adequate coverage is just the beginning. You also need the support of professionals who stand by your side to protect what's important to you. Fisher Rounds & Associates combines the coverage you want with the commitment you need. Fisher Rounds & Associates. At your service, at your side. With offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
Nate Brown here for Summit Automotive Group. If you dread the stress of shopping for a vehicle, you're going to love the way Summit makes it easy for you. At Summit Automotive, Stacy and Matt and their staff understand buying a vehicle is a big investment, so they listen to your needs first to help you find the vehicle and financing just right for you. And Summit Automotive offers a no-deductible warranty as well. Experience the friendly, stress-free shopping for yourself at Summit Automotive Group, Highway 44, just east of Campbell Street in Rapid City. Online at SummitAutomotiveGRP.com.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service, and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Just getting started on a Tuesday, the Nate Brown Show live on Fox Sports Rapid City. Your sports, your show. Casey Keeler's coming up. Sam Houston, head football coach, the FCS national champions. I had to admit, okay, I was hoping we'd be talking South Dakota State national champions. The Jackrabbits get knocked off by the Bearcats. So I had Casey on last week. Great coach, great guy. I said, hey, we'll circle back on this. Casey Keeler coming up today. He was on the Paul Feinbaum show. So I said, hey, we got to get him on the Nate Brown show. That works. So appreciate his time. Casey Keeler live from Huntsville, Texas, talking Sam Houston and the game, the win over South Dakota State. Tomorrow, we're going to get John Stiegelmeier, some reaction from the Jackrabbit, longtime head coach. Tough one for Coach Stig, no doubt. John Stiegelmeier live from Brookings tomorrow. Speaking of college football, college sports, national college football writer, 247sports.com. You can find a story up there today, really good. Chris Hummer writing about name, image, and likeness in Florida, basically ready to go, or at least putting the pieces in place. Florida State, University of Florida, the whole thing. July 1st is the start date of the name, image, and likeness bill in Florida. So this is all mixed up because you have the NCAA meeting tomorrow. They're probably not going to pass it themselves. They're trying to wait for the federal government to get going. There's news on that today as well. But Florida's ready to go with some other states July 1st. Chris Hummer writing about it. Find him on Twitter at Chris_Hummer. Chris, thanks for the time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I like y'all. We're pretty locked in on that national championship game over the weekend. I live in Texas, so seeing Sam Houston State come back like that was interesting to follow. So it's a heck of a game.
I gotcha. That was good. Here's the thing. One thing on the FCS championship. You cover national college football and the FBS mainly. So I've always said here, the FCS needs to stay in the fall. This spring thing, it was fine in the national championship for the exposure, but outside of that, it got overshadowed. Nobody followed it as closely. Where are you at on the national media side with FCS football, in the fall or the spring? I mean, I believe the fall because I think the spring thing was just an anomaly.
Oh, I think it has to be in the fall. I think if you play in the spring, maybe you get a little more exposure during the playoffs, but you also risk your best players just getting poached every fall. Like, I have no doubt if the FCS played a spring schedule, what would happen is the best players from the FCS that season would get poached in the transfer portal by the teams in the FBS with a late need. So if I was the FCS, I would stay put.
Okay, I got you.
I think it's a pretty easy solution there. Yeah.
I got you. I'm glad I'm finding all of these people saying fall, fall, fall. There must be like 3 people that say spring, but I keep seeing the same 3 people. Let me get you on this. Name, image, and likeness. You just wrote a piece on this in Florida. You did a pretty deep dive there of how Florida's getting ready to launch this. July 1st, the law becomes effective. College athletes can get some endorsements, make profit off of their name, image, and likeness. This seems like it could be a mess because the NCAA is not ready. Nationally, we're not ready. How do you think this plays out here in just over a month?
Well, Florida, I mean, not every school in Florida is even really ready to go. UCF, for example, is really hesitant to go really deep into NIL because they're afraid what the NCAA will come back later and say will render most of the Florida bill moot and potentially cause some ineligibility issues. So there's a lot of questions. In Florida on July 1st, what will happen is student athletes will wake up that morning and they will be able to strike endorsement deals. They will be able to hire agents for marketing. They will be able to make money. The bigger picture questions is just how the national bills are going to come into kind of effect alongside it. What will that change, and what will the NCAA say? And on all of those questions, there's far more questions than answers at this point. It's really murky right now. It's hard to quickly summarize all of it. There's just so much going on.
The NCAA Council, Chris, is going to meet tomorrow. They're going to discuss this, but they're not likely to recommend anything like passing a name, image, and likeness legislation formally or anything. So it just keeps on getting kicked down the road. Who should be responsible ultimately for this? The federal government have to step in here? The NCAA? Who?
I think it's ultimately going to have to be the federal government. The NCAA announced, I think, late last year or essentially last year that they were going to set some guardrails for name, image, and likeness. They laid out the basic kind of principles of it, but then they basically went silent for a year. And the reason that happened is the Department of Justice came to the NCAA and said this could be an antitrust issue. We kind of recommend that you step aside. So the NCAA has kind of had its hands tied behind its back in that regard, which is its own fault. The NCAA had a decade to move on this with nothing for years until they were forced to. So the NCAA has kind of put this in a really perilous position. And what's going to need to happen is national legislation to kind of tie all this stuff together. Because right now we're going to have, I think, 6 different states go live on July 1st with 6 different NIL laws. And while the basic premise of them is mostly the same, things do differ from state to state. So what we could have happen in a couple months is 27 states, and that's just kind of a random number, have 27 different laws, and then also some states without any laws at all, not with athletes not able to kind of capitalize on their name, image, and likeness rights. And it could be a giant mess. Like, unless Congress kind of comes in and creates national legislation that supersedes all of these state laws, there's really not one big picture answer for this.
Okay, I got to ask you, you cover the transfer portal as well. Chris Hummer, on national college football writer, 247sports.com. He wrote a piece on Florida getting ready to do name, image, and likeness, release the bill. The law goes into effect July 1st, and Florida, one of 6 states there, getting ready to go July 1st. And then we got to figure out what everybody else is going to do. I got to ask you about this scenario. How much does name, image, and likeness ultimately, do you believe, will it affect kids and their status, meaning I went here, I thought I was going to have some pretty good opportunities there to make some money. It didn't work. I'm going to go be a star over here and enter the transfer portal. Is that going to happen even more?
I don't know if it'll be like I didn't make enough money out of school, because I think name, image, and likeness plays on a different set of skills in a lot of cases than what it does on the field. If you're an elite prospect, your goal is still the NFL. That's ultimately, except for a very, very small percentage of college athletes, that's where the money's going to be made. It's going to be playing professional football, getting that first contract, getting that second contract. So I think for players, what they can do on the field and their opportunity to play is still going to be kind of the first goal for them, first and foremost. But I think name, image, and likeness could really have an impact on players kind of picking where they want to go originally. Obviously, you can't promise recruits where they're going to go. Like, you're going to get X amount of dollars when you show up here. That's very much against the rules. Not that it doesn't happen currently, but it is against the rules in almost every state, kind of coming up with these laws. But you're certainly going to see players kind of evaluate their marketing ability, their opportunity to grow their brand on these campuses, and I think it's going to make a difference. I think there's two lines of thought on that. One, it's going to help the current powers just stay in power. Those schools with big booster groups that can pay a lot of money are going to just benefit from this even more. But I'm kind of the opinion that some of the smaller schools might be able to compete a little bit more for prospects they weren't before, because they can offer them the opportunity to kind of be a star on campus. And in some ways, I think it could help even the playing field just a bit.
I was wondering about that. I was wondering what train of thought you were going to have. The rich get richer, or some of these programs that were big but now maybe have fallen off, can they get in the mix on this? I'm saying like a Nebraska. Just one show in town, a lot of great boosters, a lot of great support. They've fallen off the map. Can a Nebraska, can a Florida State, are those schools back in the mix on this?
Yeah, I think Nebraska is an excellent example. Like, they've sold out every game for, 20 years? So,
right.
Like, they have a fan base that is particularly engaged, especially on social media as well. Like, the Nebraska athletes are followed pretty religiously by their fans. And how you get money in this era with NIL, at least through social media, is engagement on Twitter, engagement on Facebook, engagement on Instagram, engagement on TikTok. And having those fan bases follow you that passionately gives you more opportunities as a player. And if you're at a place like Nebraska and Lincoln, where those advertising dollars are only going to Nebraska football or only going to Nebraska volleyball or what have you, like, it makes a difference. You could get lost in a media market like LA, potentially. You could get lost in a media market like Miami. So I think it'll be really interesting for those programs that are a little more isolated. They might have a little bit more to sell than they did in the past. And I think it will make a difference for some kids that want to be stars and want to make a lot of money during their college career. The opportunity will be there.
I really wonder that. I just wanted to point that out. Good piece on 247sports.com about Florida launching July 1st. Right now, it's kind of a mess. We don't know how it's going to play out, but they're going to try and get it going. And what does it mean? I think it's something to watch here over the next month or two if Congress can get things rolling. Kind of hard to do that, as we know. Chris Hummer, college football writer. Find him on Twitter at Chris_Hummer. Follow him there. Chris, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Chris Hummer on the Nate Brown Show, college football writer, 247sports.com, the site, the story up there today, at Chris_Hummer on Twitter. I'm going to expand on this, the situation here with the name, image, and likeness. There's two major things. Like they're saying Congress is kind of getting moving now. They kind of have a sense of urgency here because they see all these states doing it. The NCAA saying we got to do something here. July 1st is coming up, folks. I mean, it's going into place in Florida, Alabama, some of these other states. You can't have an uneven playing field like that. I can make money here and not there. I mean, that's a mess. So will Congress get going? Two major things that I think they have to get figured out in a negotiation with this. Two major things I got my eye on. I'm going to get into that coming up. First, we'll jump to the FCS national champion head coach, Casey Keeler. He's the head coach at Sam Houston. They clipped the Jackrabbits for the title at Sam Houston, and Coach Keeler is live next.
Your sports Your show. This is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Rapid City Paintless Dent Repair is your local hail damage repair specialist with over 20 years of experience restoring cars to their pre-hail condition. Don't lose 30% of your resale value by having a body shop repaint it. Rapid City Paintless Dent Repair offers better resale value, has quick turnaround, and includes a lifetime guarantee on their work. The guys at Rapid City Paintless Dent Repair are trusted locals with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, offering free estimates and are conveniently located downtown. Remember them when it hails.
EIC Equal Housing Lender.
It's Honda's certified Dream Deal sales event. Up to an additional 2 years, 50,000 miles comprehensive warranty, plus certified Hondas come with 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, free oil changes your first year, and 24/7 roadside assistance. See Denny Menholt Rushmore Honda for all the certified details. At Denny Menholt Auto Group, we buy cars. Did you know that vehicles are in high demand? Due to limited inventory, your vehicle has never been worth more. Stop by any of our Rapid City Denny Menholt dealerships and either sell or trade today. Located off I-90 on East Mall Drive. Drive in today.
Hi folks, Kevin McPherson, McPherson Auction Company. Today's online-only auction features a Case 4690 tractor. Here's an 864 Bobcat with tracks, a John Deere backhoe 510B, a Ford dump truck. We have a Hillsboro dump box trailer, a Ford van front concession truck that is very nice. There's a couple of riding mowers, a log splitter, a gutter machine like brand new, cargo trailers, a couple of semi-flatbed trailers, 12575 Bighorn Road, Whitewood, South Dakota. Final preview is from 3 to 5 this afternoon. The auction closing 6 p.m. Go to McPhersonAuction.com.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Rapid City. Any way you can get us across South Dakota and anywhere on YouTube. Search The Nate Brown Show. You can join us there. Also on Twitter at Nate Brown Show. A lot of visitors we're seeing across South Dakota. I appreciate that. The Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City, inviting in the FCS National Champion head coach, Sam Houston, Casey Keeler. He joined us last week before the game. We did a countdown every day on this program to the showdown, and I'll tell you, that second half was really interesting. First half was a grinder, kind of swimming through oatmeal. It was a grinder. A lot of rain, some turnovers, some mistakes, and then Sam Houston and South Dakota State did a battle there, and the second half came down to the final seconds, and the Bearcats win their first national championship. And Coach Keeler joins us today on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Coach, it's good to get you on. Congrats to you. How are you?
Nate, I'm doing awesome. You know, I've been in those games that I've won, and I've been in those games that I've lost, and it's a lot better winning. It really is.
You won in Delaware, right? You won in Delaware, and now you win the first ever for Sam Houston. What does it feel like around that community, that campus?
Well, you know, first of all, we're past finals. Everyone has left, so it's a shame we really couldn't come back to a student body or anything like that. But you know, just we had a great turnout up in Frisco, and the phones have been ringing off the hook, and text messages and emails, and it's a big deal. You know, I called it immortality because I told the story to our team prior to the game that I went to the Big House, you know, to do a clinic, and I'm in Michigan Stadium, and I saw. In 2001, they won the national championship. In 2002, 2003, and 2004. And I realized that's over 100 years ago. And they're still celebrating that national championship. And forever it's going to be celebrated. And that's what I told our players. That's what you're playing for. And like I said, I lost to Eastern Washington by a point. I know how devastating that was. And then my Delaware team won it 40-0 against Colgate. And I know how joyous that was. So much respect for the Jackrabbits. I mean, what a great program. You know, we knock out a great player. I mean, starting quarterback, freshman, is a great player. And they still kept us off balance the entire afternoon. And I think they're just so well coached and such a physical football team. It was, I think, a matchup between the best two teams in the country.
I got to tell you, I watched every play, and that first half, how did you deal with it, Coach? So much rain. You guys had turnovers. You got down right away after a turnover. There was mistakes on both sides, and then you have the lightning delay. Just kind of a rough first half. How did you deal with that with your players during that break?
Yeah, so we fumble the ball, they capitalize, and then we fumble again on a punt. And fortunately, our defense held, and then we were able to make it a tie ball game. So when we go in, Nate, I mean, there's 5 different lightning delays that I'm told like we're 30 minutes out. So after the 4th time of telling my guys, hey, we're 30 minutes out, I said, yeah, I'm not saying a word until we're about 8 minutes out. And so finally they come, Coach, you're about 8 minutes out. It's clear we're going to play. So I told them, I said, hey, we're ready to go, man. You got 8 minutes. Let's go. And I go back to change around because, we obviously were all stopping wet from coming off the field. And I'm back in the coach's locker room. I hear the music go on. And I hear the music go on loud. And I kind of turn my head and I look out, down the hallway, and it's like a mosh pit. I mean, they're dancing. And they're just so excited to go out and play the second half. And I've done this long enough to know, you know what? Walk away. Let them go. And, I think all day long they just believed that we were going to win that game, even down to the very end. And I think we were battle-tested because during the playoffs, we've had a win, basically on the last play of the game 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I think they just believed that it was going to happen again. And when you have a quarterback as talented as Eric Schmid and with the ice water in his veins like Eric Schmid, I think it gives everyone around the program confidence. And I think we had a lot of confidence that Eric could make the play to win the ballgame for us.
I'll tell you made some big plays. You really did. I said that. You just made some plays and enough to win it. Sam Houston's the national champs. Casey Keeler giving us some time with some Jackrabbit fans listening here. The Bearcats win their first national championship. The head coach at Sam Houston on today. You looked humble after the game, Coach. I just watched you. You were happy but humble. Went over and talked to John Stiegelmeier. What'd you tell him?
Well, I've been on John's side. I lost a brutal game to Eastern Washington by a point. That there was a issue with the chains that really determined the game, and I just know how devastating that can be. And I have such respect for him, and the program that he's put together, and how hard their players played. I mean, that's one of the things. We had a meeting last night, and one of the things that our kids just echoed is we played some great teams. This was the best one, without question. And physically, those tight ends were just so physical, and that offensive line was just so physical, and that freshman running back was just amazing. And so you talk about just respect. I mean, really, it was out of just sheer respect that I just wanted to, take my time and, kind of have a moment with him and just say, listen, you have a great team. I've been there. And there's a difference, though. There's between winning and losing, and it does change everything, and it's a shame because I know the purpose isn't to get there, but in the world we live in, that's all people remember who won it. And that's a shame because that was a great football team, and they deserve the recognition that they won a heck of a season. They really did.
I'll tell you, one exciting player I love watching for you, Coach. Casey Keeler, Sam Houston head coach on the Nate Brown Show today was Jaquez Ezzard. Ezzard, your guy at wide receiver, special teams, had one called back. He could have had another TD. I mean, he just goes off. Tough to guard, a tough player. Here's what I notice. I say, that guy's just a football player. I don't know about his 40. I don't know about his height. I don't know all those measurables, and that's what people always look at. I say, that's a wide receiver that can play at a pretty high level. I believe that. You tell me as a football coach why he wouldn't be a good NFL player.
We were shocked that we got him. Like we saw the tape and we see this is a great player. We don't really need a wide receiver, but I'm smart enough to take great players. And I said, we're going to go all in. My wide receiver texted him one day, and I texted him another day. We'd send graphics. We would send him stuff about Eric Schmid and the games that he was healthy, what he did, and we got him. And we get him here, and I think we all were even surprised he was even better than we thought. Now, he battled an Achilles the last couple weeks of the season, and so really there's about 2 weeks that he didn't even practice. And then we're out there Tuesday. No one knows this. I'm going to give you the inside information. We're out there Tuesday practicing. His back spasms. And I'm looking, and he's walking around, and I said to the trainer, what's going on? He goes, Coach, he's having spasms in his back. So, chiropractor, massages. We didn't know up until Saturday if he was going to be able to play. And I think, he's a kid that we had finals going on, and he was just, stressed out about finals, wasn't eating right, and just kind of got himself in a ball of nerves. But fortunately for us, it was a Sunday game, and we got him out there, and he played pretty well.
I'll tell you, is that the type of guy I look at, Coach? I say, in a slot-type position, maybe with his size, can he play? I mean, it seems like he can play at the next level, no?
He can. I think once the Achilles, and the great thing is that he just moved into a off-campus apartment. He was on campus. He just moved to an off-campus apartment. He's going to be back all summer training with our strength coach. He's very committed to kind of see if he can get himself to the next level. But as a punt returner, he's like nothing I've ever seen before. And I agree. I think he needs a little refinement in his route running. But, he's just a mismatch. He has a way of first of all, unbelievable hands, but also he just finds a way of getting open. He's just uncanny how he plays the ball. I don't know if I've ever had a football player that plays the ball as well as he does. So we think that he still has some growth in terms of, just some route running and getting his speed back to where it was when we first got him. But, we're excited to have him back, and he'll be one of the best players in the country next year.
Casey Keeler, one more. I'll let him run. Sam Houston's the national champions. Here's what I said, Coach. Great exposure for Sam Houston. I mean, you've been on the Paul Feinbaum show. You've been on National Show. Okay, you're on ABC for 3.5 hours longer with the lightning delay. Great exposure. And then I say, okay, what does this do for a coach now with, some players stood out, some players that there's transfer portal. Is this something a coach stays up at night realizing, man, we had a great run here. Now I got to make sure we keep it all together?
Well, I think John and I both worry about, those young players who have just great games or great seasons, what may happen. But I think just like South Dakota State, we have a great culture. They have a great culture. I think guys sometimes understand that the grass isn't always greener. A kid like Jaquez is a transfer, so he can't transfer a second time. So we don't worry about those guys. But we both have great young players. And I think the transfer portal is a little bit like the Wild Wild West. And we've been upfront and honest with our guys. And we've told them, if you're at a place where you're having success, why would you go someplace where you're not sure if you're going to have success? Joe Flacco is the best example I can give anybody. He couldn't get on the field at Pitt. And Pitt's good football, but Pitt is not Alabama or Texas or USC. And he comes and plays for me, and he's a first-round draft choice 3 years later. Mm-hmm. How did that happen? He played. Guys, the most important thing, if you want to play at the next level in terms of the NFL, the single most important thing you can do is play. And sometimes you go somewhere, and you might get behind somebody. You might still be a great player, but you might get behind someone just like Joe got behind somebody. So I kind of tell that story. I think it kind of makes guys realize, you know what? Here's a guy who signed the largest contract in the history of the NFL, $120 million over 6 years, and he couldn't get on the field. And then he got to a place where he could get on the field, and he should show how good he is. So, not happy or thrilled with the transfer portal. I think it really hurts FCS football, but those are the kind of lessons and messages you try to tell your players in terms of, what the possibilities are.
Great perspective. Casey Keeler, former head coach there at Delaware, and a Joe Flacco story. And now it's Sam Houston, another national title for Casey Keeler. Coach, congrats on it. It was a really good game, a fun game, gritty game. Congrats to you. I appreciate you coming on doing the interview.
And much respect for the South Dakota State fans and their program. And it was an honor to play a team that really, very classy and just battled to the very end.
Good to hear. Appreciate that. Best of luck to you. Casey Keeler, head coach at Sam Houston. There he is on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Appreciate his time. He's done a lot of interviews, a lot of time, so I appreciate him coming on, talking Sam Houston, South Dakota State. Runs a good show there. They made the plays. Right? Yeah, that was a tight game all the way through. I thought it was a really exciting finish. Jackrabbits, a tough one to take, no doubt. Sam Houston has some nice players. Quarterback, really good. Schmid, really good. And I think Ezzard, I just say, that guy's a gamer. Sometimes you recognize a gamer. He's a gamer. Ezzard, the wide receiver for Sam Houston, he's a gamer. Appreciate Casey Keeler coming on, Sam Houston head coach. How about that story about Joe Flacco, former quarterback at Delaware? That's when Coach Keeler was there. And that's why I asked him, because you see some guys that have, maybe think about this, think about that. A report coming out just this afternoon that Sam Houston may have had their running back enter the transfer portal. I just saw that report. That's the type of stuff we had a great season. We got exposure. People come calling. I don't love the Wild West of the transfer portal for the FCS Division II because it just keeps on going down. What does that mean? Okay. The South Dakota States, the Sam Houstons, now they have to worry. They recruit so well, and they get a player of the year type guy, and then they have to worry about it. Well, maybe he's going to go here. And then what do? Then they can dip into, this is a good D2 player. I'm going to go take from that D2 program. And everybody's hosed. Everybody's hosed along the way. I don't love it in hoops, football. I just don't love that scenario where there's no questions asked anymore. There's no conversations that have to be had with coach, player, family. You can put your name in today. You could just put it in today, and then you could have this offer, that offer, and it's just a wild scenario. And you can go play right away. I get it. I guess you just have to do this. The one-time transfer rule, I'm going to stay consistent. I'm fine with it. The one-time transfer rule, if that's the deal, make it consistent. I'll roll with that. And that's got to be all. That's got to be all. We can't be, I don't love the intra-conference transfers. Pac-12 just announced today. The Pac-12 just announced today. You can transfer from UCLA and go play at USC. That's a killer. I'm playing at USC. I could really play at Oregon, though. We're transferring in conference now. It's hard to build programs. This is an interesting debate because what's the line for the athlete and for the program? The team and for the me, right? Me's important. I'm still old school thinking team and program is important, but I do say fit has to be good too. So kids can make some mistakes. Give them a one-time transfer thing. That's it. And I'll stay with that. Still ends up being the Wild West at times. Coming back with Daniel Tatral, head coach of the Rapid City Rush. We got a State of the State address with South Dakota High School sports as well. I want to have this discussion with the executive director of the Activities Association in Pierre, Dan Swartos. He's agreed to come on tonight. A lot to discuss in high school sports in South Dakota. That's still on tap. First, Coach Tatral in the Rush. How close are they to a playoff spot? We'll break it down next.
The Nate Brown Show.
At Terrell Tires and the Speed Center, we let our customers do the talking.
Very well-maintained tire and speed shop, over-the-top service, and very reasonably priced. Need I say more?
Scott and crew at Terrell Tires have always gone over and beyond for us. Great prices for great tires. Also, anytime we've needed odd-sized tires for ranch equipment, Scott gets us what we need.
Great customer service. Spent plenty of time answering all of our questions, and the truck looks awesome with the new rims.
Terrell Tires and the Speed Center, 105 North Campbell Street, Rapid City.
Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 54. Tonight, under partly cloudy skies, south winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times again. Tomorrow, chance for scattered storms. Highs level off around 75. Lows dip down to about 54. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Low 80s. Thursday, upper 60s by Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 77.
The Rush are back. On May 19th, the Rush take on the Indy Fuel at 7:05, presented by Rush Mountain Adventure Park. May 21st and 22nd is Military Appreciation Weekend in partnership with South Dakota Army National Guard and Evolution Heating and Cooling. The Rush will wear specialty jerseys and will recognize veterans and active duty military. There will be a post-game jersey auction after Saturday's game. Active duty and veterans can buy tickets at the Rush office for just $15. May 23rd, the Rush conclude against the Indy Fuel again at 4:05, presented by Ford Hayes Chuck Wagon in conjunction with Rushmore Tramway. Tickets are at RapidCityRush.com.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for the Man Salon. Guys, we're all working hard. Some of us are stressed. We all need a little relaxation. That's where you go to the Man Salon. Get the full treatment. Great haircut, shampoo, head, shoulder massage, hot towel in your own station. There's no place like it in Rapid City. And their stylists are wearing masks. So if you want to relax, get a great experience, you want the Man Salon on West Main or at Rushmore Crossing. Book your next appointment online at themansalon.net.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills in 2020. We're up early, making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection to brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
You don't have to be a sports fan to know it's critical to build a strong team around you in business and in life. Strategy takes teamwork, and you need a trusted advisor on your roster. That's why I trust the experts at Cato Thorstensen. From tax, bookkeeping, payroll, QuickBooks to audit, valuation, and more. Trust the experts. Call the Cato Thorstensen team or visit KTLLP.com. They're accepting new clients right now. Visit KTLLP.com.
Hey, Rapid City, it's Doug Gottlieb. Join me weekdays from 1 to 4 right here on 106.7 FM and 11:50 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now let's get you back to the Nate Brown Show, Rapid City's sports talk show.
Welcome back in. Your sports, your show on a Tuesday. The Nate Brown Show live on Fox Sports Rapid City. How are you? Hopefully solid. Coming up on 5 o'clock already. The Drive at 5 pack tonight. Dan Swartos coming up. South Dakota High School Activities Association Executive Director. I'm going to do a state of the state with high school sports in South Dakota. Sanctioning, what's coming. Football, where are we at with classes? How about participation in the world after COVID and the numbers in South Dakota? Football numbers have gone down. Football numbers have gone down. I want to get the latest with Dan Swartos. A lot to discuss straight ahead. We'll get to Dan Swartos on the way. I got to say, there's a lot of things to get to do with this college sports piece today. A lot to get into, and I've got two major things that I want to discuss with the college sports scenario of two things that I think Congress, if they're the ones that step up here, I guess step up, they create a national bill that is consistent for all states. That's the only way I think you're going to do it. That's the only way I think you're going to have a consistent name, image, and likeness, sponsorships, endorsement type deal for individual athletes, which I'm for. I want that. It's time. I think most people are. There's two things that I think you got to be careful with. That I'll get into, and I think that's the negotiation that has to be had. Let's take a call. Thanks for getting in tonight. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Nate? How you doing, man?
What's up, buddy?
You know, I totally agree with you. I think there needs to be some adjustments there that need to be made on the legal level. I'm with you on that, but I want to just take a few moments and just tap my amazing Avalanche, because you know I'm Colorado bred, man. I'm from the Mile High City, and I gotta say, what a game last night, man! What a game!
4-1. That was easy. That was easy.
Oh, it's not gonna be easy though, because it's never gonna be an easy road to the Stanley Cup. But,
not there. But I like them against the Blues. I like them.
Yeah, they're looking good, man. Nathan McKinnon is just 2 goals and an assist. I mean, that was outstanding. Gabriel Landeskog was out there with the goal and 2 assists. I mean, Rantanen was out there with 2 assists. I mean, they were just, and then Grubauer was just like standing on his head, 22 saves. I mean, they were flying. I mean, they were looking like an incredible hockey team out there. They got 50
hey, let me ask you this. Is this a Denver sports story, the Avalanche? Can they make a run? You tell me. I mean, you sound like you're an Avalanche homer, but can they make a real run?
Oh, absolutely. They're a cup or nothing kind of a team right now. That's kind of the way they're standing out right now. They've got with Johansson too. I mean, and Grubauer, like they've got 2 really outstanding goalies. They're capable of doing things, I think, this year. And then, I mean, McKinnon is that guy is a next level of player. I mean, you can't find that anywhere else.
Think about this. Think about this. The Avalanche, they've had their tough times. Okay, they've had their tough times. They're rolling. The Nuggets, they had their tough times. They're rolling. The Nuggets and the Avalanche are the story, not the Broncos and the Rockies. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yeah, well, let me the thing about the Nuggets is they're in a field of, with the Warriors and they've got the Lakers. I mean, that's going to be, and as well as the Jazz. That's not going to be an easy road.
Tough road. I don't think they can get it done. I don't think the Nuggets can. But they're in the mix.
Right, exactly. But, the Avalanche have got something going where they can basically beat anybody, anytime, any day. Just give them the second period, because usually in the second period they turn it on and they just throw some goals in, and that's just what happens. And they speed. I mean, they got so much speed on that ice. It's incredible. I love the Rush. I know you're going to talk Rush later, but I got to tell you, man, there's nothing like watching those guys.
I like it. The Avalanche update. Bronco Brett. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate you getting in. That's good stuff. I like seeing some passion. Some passion from sports fans. Thanks for getting in. Bronco Brett, that's Bronco Brett. He's our guy. We're going to get some passion on the Broncos here soon. I think. By the way, let me touch on this. Two things that I think you have to negotiate in a name, image, and likeness bill for athletes. And we'll see where you're at on it, if I'm being unfair or if I'm fair. Two things that they're debating in Congress. Here it is. Should the university be able to regulate the individual sponsorship deals for athletes? Okay? Perfect example is, I have a deal. I'm going to do Gatorade. I'm going to do Gatorade on my social media. They're going to do Gatorade, and we got a deal with Powerade. Should the university be able to regulate that? University has a deal with Powerade. I've got a deal on my social media with Gatorade. I believe the university should be able to regulate that. I really do, because they also have, we've got to deal with Powerade. That also helps pay for many of the Olympic sports that I argue for on this program. I argue for these sports and these experiences from the educational side for other athletes that don't earn all this money. I believe they still need to be having the opportunities to have college sports experiences. So the university does have to make the budget work as well, right? I'm not feeling too sorry for them, let me tell you, but they do have to make the budget work. I believe that's an important negotiation. That's in the Congress right now. One side says university shouldn't be able to regulate it. Another side says, yeah, you got to negotiate. They should be able to. Here's the other one. Should there be revenue sharing from these deals to the athletes? Should there be revenue sharing from these deals to the athletes? There's two things. This is an individual branding opportunity. I don't see revenue sharing at all. Like the bill in Georgia 2 weeks ago that said, hey, if this guy makes all this money, he gets 75% of it, but 25% goes to the rest of the athletes in the department. I don't think that works. I don't think this is an individual. You're a brand. You've got TikTok followers, Instagram followers, the whole thing. That's your brand. I don't believe that those dollars for your brand should necessarily be going out to all the other athletes. And thus, I just told you, the university should be able to regulate some of those deals so they can have money for the other athletes. No? Right? So that's two of the big arguments in the bills in Congress. There's a couple of them going around this week, okay? Some people say there's a sense of urgency in Congress and they're going to be able to get this done before July 1st. I've never seen a sense of urgency, but we'll see how that goes. And that's two of the debates. I believe in university has rights to regulate some of these deals. I don't believe in the revenue sharing. I don't believe in that from the deals of the individuals. I don't believe in that. Thanks for calling. You're live and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are we going to get this figured out?
Well, the last couple words you said made me think you might have your head on straight. So
maybe. I don't know about that.
Okay, so like the revenue sharing part of it for the athletes, right? So if they're making money, they're being given a platform by the school, right? They wouldn't have that platform otherwise. So
I don't know. A lot of these guys have a platform already before they arrive in this day and age.
So what you were saying before is on the individual deals, like he goes home and gets a sponsorship for whoever, the local Dairy Queen or whatever, like that's all his. But if it's your jersey from Georgia or Minnesota or wherever, like it's got branding from the school on it, I think part of that should go to the school because it's their platform the athletes are using.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think the university is going to say, you can do all these things. You can do your TikTok videos and everything, not in a Husker jersey. Not in a Husker jersey. I think they're going to regulate that, and I believe they have the right to. I believe they have the right
100%.
to. Right?
100%. Yep. So it's the whether or not the school's branded or not. That's the key. So
I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for getting in.
Have a good day,
Thanks
man.
for getting in. I think most people can understand some fairness here, right? I mean, is that an ugly word these days? I mean, there's rational thoughts here that should be able to. We don't have to go one way extreme or the other. No regulations at all to no liberties at all. Can we be rational today? Can we be rational in thinking things through like this? I think there's a way to get pretty good agreements in place where individual athletes can make some dollars off their name, image, and likeness, and university athletic departments can also still have significant finances because it's expensive to run athletic departments, whether people buy that or not. It's expensive to run athletic departments. And I believe in many of those other sports that should still be offered. Yes, in football and basketball, feed the bulldog. You may be surprised, okay? Football and basketball, feed the bulldog. There already is revenue sharing. It's an ugly little secret. Sorry to tell you, there already is revenue sharing in the other sports from football and basketball. They pay the bills. Okay, we don't need to have the quarterback break off 25% of his name, image, and likeness to pay more of the athletes in those other sports. I don't buy that, like the Georgia bill was looking at. Into the drive at 5 here. Okay, question of the day. I've got a good question here for you. I've got a good question on this Tuesday. So I find myself doing this, okay? I'm an NBA free agent. What does that mean? I have not had a favorite NBA team, like passionate. I mean, I'm going to follow this team. I'm going to follow these players. I've been in no man's land. I want to see the Nuggets do well because they've been underdogs. Haven't won, okay? I want to see the Nuggets do well. They're doing well. Likeable guys. Jokic, a fun bunch, right? I want to see some of these regional teams, but I'm an NBA free agent. You know what I find myself doing? Rooting against teams and players. Is that fair? Is that fair? Am I the only one? I've got a question of the day. Who are you rooting against the most if you're like me? Because I've got the number one team on the list as the playoffs start this week. I'll tell you who it is next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, streaming live at FoxSportsRapidCity.com and right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hello, everyone. This is Todd Singh with Singh Contracting. I'm here to remind you it's time to get that roof done. So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll give you our own estimate, separate from insurance, so you can make sure they're taking care of you. Call today, 343-ROOF. That's 343-7663. Or visit us at singhcontracting.com. Don't delay, call today. Bye!
Hey, parents of local athletes, we all know you gotta put in the work to get better, and Physio is ready to help your athlete improve their strength, conditioning, and athletic ability. Physio's summer strength and conditioning program starts June 7th, and this year they're kicking it off with the first ever Black Hills Athlete Performance Combine, testing to find out where you're at and where you can improve. Open to area athletes grades 6 through 12. Register for the Combine and Physio's strength and conditioning summer program right now at bhphysio.com.
The bakers of Village Hearth are proud to introduce their latest additions to their family of fine bread products. Pennsylvania Dutch Potato Rolls. Baked the old-fashioned way using quality ingredients like real potatoes and honey. Their unique recipe makes these the most moist and flavorful buns around, just like homemade. So once you've grilled your hot dogs, burgers, or brats to perfection, no ordinary roll will do. Finish them off with a Village Hearth Pennsylvania Dutch Potato Roll. Village Hearth. Baked fresh locally.
Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch the TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. I'm State Farm agent Scott Carlson right here in Rapid City, and I can switch you over and you can start saving today. Me and my team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. It's easy to switch and save. Just call me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson. Want the real deal? Like a good neighbor? State Farm is there.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City. This is the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Get in the herd weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports.
Welcome back in. The Drive at 5 on a Tuesday. How you doing? Hopefully rock solid. High school sports in South Dakota. State of the state. We got to get it tonight. I asked Dan Swartos to come on. I said, hey, I got a lot of questions about where high school sports are going, sanctioning, what football classification's looking like. How about participation numbers in South Dakota? We always hear national participation. Okay, what about South Dakota? How does it look? How healthy is it with high school athletes? Dan Swartos, the executive director of the Activities Association, live from Pierre. He is on the way. Interesting discussion. We'll have it. Craig Maddock tonight from Sioux Falls as well. Hang on later this hour. Craig Maddock checking in. South Dakota Public Broadcasting from Sioux Falls. Okay, so I want to get into a national question of the day here. National question of the day. I've always wondered this. Do you find yourself rooting for teams or rooting against teams? Okay. Probably it's a little bit of both, right? Just a little fun sports psychology question today. Do you find yourself rooting for teams or against teams? Because I have to tell you, I find myself rooting against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, I passionately root against the Chiefs. When I root for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, then you know that I'm rooting against the Chiefs. I wasn't rooting for Tom and the Buccaneers. I wasn't rooting for Brady and the Buccaneers. My arch nemesis over the years with the Patriots. I'm not gonna do that. But the Chiefs have become that team. The Chiefs have become that team for me. Why? They're good. They beat my Broncos. They've embarrassed some Broncos. They got Showtime Mahomes. They're the cool team now, right? Do you find yourself rooting for teams or against teams? A little bit of both, probably. But I find myself, that's what I love about sports. The psychology is, I think a lot of fans, we have to root against players We have to have passion rooting against teams. We want to see them lose more than we want to see certain teams win. That was my perfect example with this past Super Bowl. Just a perfect example. I said, I got Mahomes and the cool Chiefs against Tom Brady, the Golden Boy, and the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady just won't go away. I respect Tom, by the way, but I don't have to be a fan. I can root for him to lose. That was my perfect scenario of rooting against teams instead of rooting for teams. I find myself that spot right now with the NBA playoffs in a big way. In a big way. Maybe bigger than ever because I don't have a favorite NBA team. I'm a lost cause since Michael Jordan. I'm a lost cause since Michael Jordan. So sue me, okay? I'm a lost cause since Jordan and the Bulls and that run. I've been out on. I guess I like Jordan and the Bulls. I didn't love the Bulls and what came after, which hasn't been much. Maybe that ruined my passion for picking a team. So I haven't been able to pick a team in the NBA. I haven't been able to get passionate and pick a team to follow and really, really root for a team. But you know what I do? You know what I do now? I root against teams. Am I messed up or is this you? Is this because here are the two teams. I'll tell you the two teams right now. I don't know which team to root against more. I think I've got my pick tonight. But it's the Brooklyn Nets. How can you root for the Brooklyn Nets? How can you root for the Brooklyn Nets? James Harden forces his way into Houston. It's an ugly situation there. Harden dribbles all game. He's still dribbling as I'm speaking. So you got Harden. You got Kyrie Irving, who's aloof. Kyrie doesn't want to play, maybe doesn't even want to continue his career. I don't know. Kyrie out, in, all over the map. He's out of Boston because nobody can get along with him. And then Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant goes to the Warriors, joins the super team there. They win. Now he's got the Nets. Oh, they're going to win again. The super team phenomenon, which I don't love, by the way. I don't love that. I think it's worse than it was. The Brooklyn Nets are on my list. I can't root for them, but I can passionately root against them. And that's number one on my list. But I ask you tonight, who's number one on your rooting against list? I think I've got the two teams. You can tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm way out in left field, you let me know. Here's who people are rooting against as we start the NBA playoffs. The play-ins this week, playoffs start, well, I'll call it the playoffs tonight and the play-in this week. I like the play-in, but these other teams get going next week. Many of the teams get going. You're rooting against who? LeBron and the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. Did I hit that spot on? And I want to ask you, who are you rooting against more? Let's get an update. Who are you rooting harder against in the NBA playoffs? I think I've got the two teams. At least those are my two teams, so I get to throw those out there for you. But I think we're rooting against the Nets and LeBron and the Lakers. But look at this. Who are you rooting harder against? The Nets super team or LeBron and the Lakers? 65% of the audience today rooting against the Lakers. You don't like LeBron that much? Now, LeBron's become polarizing. Why? Has dipped into politics. That has really upset folks, right? Some people love LeBron, right? But it just is what it is. Dipping into politics, polarizing nature, some of the things he's said on social media. And then that's on top of he started, they say, the super team phenomenon. You can argue about Jordan and the Bulls and the whole scenario, but the coordinating, Bosh, Wade, LeBron going to the Heat in 2010, that whole thing, I think that got him off on a rough start. People didn't hate LeBron before that. Then they started hating LeBron. Then the politics got mixed in. That added fuel to the fire, no question. I believe that's the scenario where not only the Lakers, the defending state champs, but there's a lot of folks that don't like LeBron. And 65% of you are rooting against the Lakers? 35% rooting against the Nets? As much as you want to get into the politics with LeBron, I leave that out. I'm just going to say, okay, there's good things LeBron's done. There's questionable things he said, questionable things, right? No question about that. I look at, okay, he's done some good things. He's a great player. He's a competitor. I'm rooting against the Nets and LeBron's second. Sorry. I'm rooting against the Lakers, too. I'm sorry to tell you, but it's the Nets to me. It's the Nets. Number one enemy. The Brooklyn Nets cannot, and I mean cannot, win the NBA Finals. Why? This is just a mess. You wouldn't have to... They didn't play in the regular season together at all. I think they played under 10 games together, these players. That means basically team doesn't matter. Regular season doesn't matter. We could just all team up. We go in the playoffs. We win. Isn't that fun? It's a total mess. And I don't like the personalities on the Brooklyn Nets trio as well. Nets, number one for me. I'll be with the 35% of you rooting against the Nets in a big, big way. Listener text. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to bring this up. I totally... What are we trying to say here? I totally root against players and teams. More against players, though. Used to cheer for the Nets, and then they went and got the 3 biggest crybabies in the league. There we go. There we go. Join me in my passion to root against the Nets. I'm not going to be too angry, but I really, really don't want the Nets to win for a lot of reasons. The personalities, the makeup of the super teams, the lack of play in the regular season, and what that means then to, we could still win an NBA Finals. See, we just get the 3 best players, and there's nothing you can do about it. Basketball, is that a team game? Does it matter? Regular season matter? I hate that. If that happens. I root against Notre Dame always. Okay. Yes, there is people that do that. There are people that do that as well. See, I'm telling you, I'm not the only one. You root against teams. You root for teams, but you really root against teams. That's what I love about sports. Interesting story to me, rooting against the Nets and rooting against the Lakers. I'm engaged. Dan Swartos is next, Executive Director of the Activities Association. How about participation numbers in South Dakota when it comes to high school sports? There's a story out today from New Jersey. Now, South Dakota's different, but New Jersey, high school sports participation, just this past year, this is the pandemic mess, down 15 to 20%. They said kids that played sports, like a volleyball, basketball, whatever it is, they just didn't come out again. Now, would you say that's COVID only? Or is it the COVID that said, yeah, I'm just not interested in it anymore? Is there a divide there between kids and sports participation that we'll be able to come out of? I wonder about it. Dan Swartos on the South Dakota side of this on the way.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Nate Brown Show and like us on Facebook by searching Fox Sports Rapid City.
We have all learned lately that our homes are our sanctuaries. And at Renewal by Andersen, many people invest in our windows to keep out the bitter cold. But they're often thrilled when it's blazing hot outside and their Renewal by Andersen windows are keeping their homes so cool with much lower utility bills. Renewal by Andersen windows make life at home so much more comfortable, whether it's 10 degrees below zero or 100. We can't control outside, but we sure can inside. Invest in your home now with Renewal by Andersen. You'll be glad you did.
At Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, we let our customers do the talking.
Very well maintained tire and speed shop, over the top service, and very reasonably priced. Need I say more?
Scott and crew at Terrell Tires have always gone over and beyond for us. Great prices for great tires. Also, anytime we've needed odd-sized tires for ranch equipment, Scott gets us what we need.
Great customer service. Spent plenty of time answering all of our questions, and the truck looks awesome with the new rims.
Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, 105 North Campbell Street, Rapid City.
On May 19th, the Rush take on the Indy Fuel at 7:05, presented by Rush Mountain Adventure Park. May 21st and 22nd is Military Appreciation Weekend in partnership with South Dakota Army National Guard and Evolution Heating and Cooling. The Rush will wear specialty jerseys and will recognize veterans and active duty military. There will be a post-game jersey auction after Saturday's game. Active duty and veterans can buy tickets at the Rush office for just $15. May 23rd, the Rush conclude against the Indy Fuel again at 4:05, presented by Ford Hayes Chuck Wagon in conjunction with Rushmore Tramway. Tickets are at RapidCityRush.com.
Not all trusts fit in a box. We do our best to put a personal touch on each one and really listen to our customers and make sure that we take care of them the very best that we can.
We are going to apply the best of our knowledge and ability and care to really analyze their situation and find all the best solutions that we possibly can.
We customize what we do to what you need. Pioneer Bank and Trust is local.
At Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, we let our customers do the talking. Very well-maintained tire and speed shop, over-the-top service, and very reasonably priced. Need I say more?
Scott and crew at Terrell Tires have always gone over and beyond for us. Great prices for great tires. Also, anytime we've needed odd-sized tires for ranch equipment, Scott gets us what we need.
Great customer service. Spent plenty of time answering all of our questions, and the truck looks awesome with the new rims.
Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, 105 North Campbell Street, Rapid City.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Interesting question of the day. The psychology of the sports fan. Do you root for teams more these days or root against teams? Am I the angry guy yelling at the clouds now, just rooting against teams? I told you, I root against the Chiefs. Does that tick the Chiefs fans off? You should think that's the ultimate sign of respect. Is when I root against the Chiefs as passionate as I do. We kind of have a problem in my house. We're Broncos fans through and through. We really are. But here's the secret. I'm going to out it right now. My wife and my two daughters, they like Patrick Mahomes. That's a big problem. That is it. You can't be a Broncos fan and like Patrick Mahomes. You're sitting here, I like Patrick Mahomes. No. It's the enemy. We got to learn things in sports. Root against teams that are rivals, okay? I'm teaching the youngsters. My wife, I don't know. She'll do what she wants. Dan Swartos is on tonight, Executive Director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. I want to break down a lot of high school sports topics with Dan, and appreciate him coming on. Dan, it's good to have you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy these days. I got a lot of things I want to get to. One is just a general sense of this. I just saw this story out of New Jersey. Now, South Dakota's not New Jersey, but New Jersey athletic officials estimate 15 to 20% reduction in the number of athletes competing in high school sports, just across the board. And they say they're worried that, I know there was COVID, that was a problem, but not getting the athletes back out. Is that something that South Dakota is worried about at all?
I mean, we look at that every year. We do participation surveys, and I think over the last, it's been a while, but we've seen a little bit of a decline in football participation.
Yeah.
In some of the big sort of foundational sports, but we've seen an uptick in some of the, I guess I would say, the newer sports. We see a lot more. We've seen an uptick in participation in sports like golf and tennis and cross country and soccer.
Okay.
So we had tennis today, and Huron had 70 boys come out for tennis this year. So it's really dependent. I think in a lot of the states around the country that weren't as fortunate as us and weren't able to do a whole lot this year, I think that's a real concern that they have. We're fortunate that we're able to get most things done this year, and we get our participation surveys back at the end of each year, and we'll take a look at those. But I think our numbers have done pretty well over the last decade or so, and I expect that they'll stay about where they were.
Let me ask you on the football side. I've seen that, Dan, where the football numbers have gone down. How much does smaller communities just not having as many kids playing with these opportunities? We've had co-ops. I mean, there's just not as much football in some pockets of this state anymore. Is it smaller population, or is it kids just aren't playing football anymore?
Well, I think it's a number of things. I think, like you said, we're seeing a lot more co-ops. Some of the smaller towns continue to get smaller. In the areas where we've seen growth in our state, there hasn't been that corresponding growth in the number of programs. So, whether there's, 1,500 or 1,500 kids in Roosevelt or 2,500 kids at Roosevelt, there's still one football program, and with Sioux Falls now added Jefferson, but for the longest time, Sioux Falls has seen a lot of growth, and there were, 4 football programs in Sioux Falls for the amount of growth that they had. So I think that's a part of it too, where the areas where we have seen growth, the number of teams within those areas have stayed the same. So it's kind of a catch-22 type deal, and now we've got Jefferson coming in Sioux Falls, and I think that'll help with that as well. So I think it's a number of factors. I know our number of 9-man teams looks to be smaller again next year, and I think that's just sort of the nature of what the population shift has been within our state.
Yeah, I buy that. Interesting to look at percentage-wise. Are we seeing percentage drops in the number of football players? Dan Swartos, Executive Director, South Dakota High School Activities Association. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that in general. Speaking of football, we're going to play on Thursday nights, Friday, Saturday. Officiating is a challenge there. Moving forward, what are some thoughts on getting more officials? Is this a tough road?
It is a tough road, and it's it's something that you just always have to keep working at. And for the last several years, we've had just enough officiating crews to cover the contests that we had, and I think there were some crews that this last year with COVID, they just decided that it was time to stop. So we're a little bit short now, so we're doing some games on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays and seeing how that works. But that's not a final solution. So we're going to continue doing work to recruit officials. Be it to start working on kids at the high school ranks, get into the colleges as much as we can. Try to expand on some of our mentorship programs. We're trying to make it as easy and cheap as possible for new officials to get in, and setting up programs to help them get contests and help them get connected with the crew. But it's something we've been walking a tightrope on for a number of years, and it kind of came home. It looks like it's going to sort of come home to roost next year. So we're going to have to make a few changes on that, and just really, really get our nose in there and do everything we can to get that number back up for the following year.
Dan Swartos, Executive Director, South Dakota High School Activities Association, here on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. I know it's anecdotal, Dan, so it's not one-all, be-all. What do you hear from somebody that doesn't want to be an official either anymore or just, nah, I'm not going to do that? What do you hear is the biggest cause?
I think it's a number of reasons. Some of it's, either their age or their kids are getting to an age where they want to go watch their own kids play.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to be quite frank, the way they're treated by fans at times and by coaches has an impact on that. We talk and yell at officials and act towards officials in a way that wouldn't be socially acceptable in any other facet of life, and I know that that's part of the game as well. but I think that has an impact on it. I think it's a number of things.
Would better pay help at all? Would better pay help at all, or is that just is that fifth on the list?
I don't think it would hurt. That's not generally what we hear. I think for the most part, it's either I just don't have time, or I had an injury and I just can't do it anymore, or my kids are now in high school and I need to be there to watch my own kids. And quite frankly, I'm sick of getting yelled at and getting screamed at by moms and dads and everyone else. It's you got to have thick skin to do it, and I'm really appreciative of the ones that we have. And I know that banter with officials is part of the game, and we understand that. But I think that has an impact on people as well.
I'll tell you, I do know this. More games, whether it's soccer, football, basketball, there's more games and there's less officials. That's not a good combo. Let me ask you. I want to ask you about this. Speaking of more games, we're going to have, I think, an opportunity here to sanction softball. South Dakota is going to be the last state to the game there, but we're going to do it. I think. Now, your steering committee is formed, and you got to go through the process, but there's momentum behind this. What's going to be the biggest challenge of sanctioning softball if this gets forward? I keep hearing school budgets. Is that going to be a concern to pay for softball?
Yeah, I think that's an issue. I think anytime we add any activities, that's a big part that schools have to consider. And for better or worse, right now it's club teams, and a lot of those, and most of those costs are taken on by either done by fundraisers or it's paid by parents directly. And now when you factor in travel and coaches and equipment and uniforms and everything else that goes along with it, it's probably a $25,000 to $30,000 budget expenditure that a school would have to have, and so that's a big part of it. For us, it's just going to be you're starting something from scratch, and we're fortunate in that there's a pretty good system set up right now within the club system and with USA Softball within our state, and there's a lot of schools that have programs right now as club programs, so we've got a good start on it. But I think finances will be a big part of it, and facilities, scheduling, everything that the ADs have to do, and then for us, you get back to officials, and getting that set up, and getting the officials registration and everything set up for a new sport. So there'll be a lot of challenges that come along with it. But having said that, if we're able to do it, we'd be really excited. Wyoming just started it this year, and that leaves us as the last state in the country without it. And I think it'd be a good opportunity for the kids in our state.
Yeah, I believe that. I think it legitimizes it. I love wearing the school colors, and I know the clubs do too, but something about playing for a state championship, high school sanctioned, state events, the school. I buy into that. I'm glad we're going to do it. I think it looks that way, and I hope it works out nicely to sanction softball. High school baseball looks like a little further down the road, at least right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Right now that's what we're focused on is softball, and with baseball, there's a few different sort of conflicts that we need to work through. The Legion programs are pretty established in a lot of areas in the state, and we don't want to encroach on their territory. There is a high school season for baseball right now that's in the spring, and the Baseball Association has done a good job of running that. But to be quite frank, we haven't had the same sort of push from parents and from communities for baseball that we've had for softball. And in the case of softball, USA Softball actually reached out to us and has really helped along with this process, and that same thing hasn't happened with baseball, and that's fine. When it's time for baseball, or if it gets to be time for baseball, we'd love to sanction it, but we want that to be driven by the schools, number one, because of the budgetary aspects to it, and number two, we want it to be something that the kids and the baseball folks want to happen.
Yeah. I know it's one of those things, interesting dynamic from one side of the state to the other, and with some programs when it comes to high school baseball. Some programs want it, some programs seem like they don't. They want to keep it how it is. Softball, going to go down that road right now. The Activities Association, a steering committee looking at sanctioning softball. It looks like we'll get there, hopefully. Dan Swartos on tonight, Executive Director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. Appreciate your time, Dan. Good update. Just wanted to get where things are at, and appreciate you coming on.
All right, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Dan Swartos talking high school sports, SD Preps, here on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Appreciate his time. Executive Director of South Dakota High School Activities Association in Pierre. Dan Swartos on the Nate Brown Show. Couple of things there. That story just came out from New Jersey. I saw that one. I know COVID's done damage on sports in certain states more than South Dakota. I said I've been grateful for the opportunities we've had in South Dakota working through things. I really have been grateful for that, from youth sports to high school sports, and some states have had some issues there. And New Jersey, seeing their guess is even after this, that's the thing. After this, they're looking at 15 to 20% reduction. 15 to 20% reduction in the number of student athletes competing. And that's the worry just overall nationally. I think you already have that worry potentially. Okay? You already have that worry potentially of kids not playing sports as much this day and age anyway. I mean, that's what I believe. Here's some numbers. In 2018, 38% of kids age 6 to 12 played sports on a regular basis. Now, these are the youngsters starting early. 38% played on a regular basis. That was down 7 percentage points in 10 years. So you could argue kids, it looks like, are playing less sports anyway. Now, you got to be careful with certain studies and numbers you look at, but that's the sports and fitness industry who looked at that mark, that number. It's dropped over the years. And then you throw in the COVID mess, kids not going to play could be a concern. Could be a concern. South Dakota, I think we're in fairly good shape. The numbers are I think, in fairly good shape. It's interesting to see. Interesting to see. How will football grow? Will wrestling grow? You know, we added girls wrestling, softball here. I think we're in pretty good shape in South Dakota. I don't know all the numbers, but Dan Swartos said the drop they've seen is in football a little bit. I think that's some small communities. And then, like I said, in Sioux Falls, if I don't make the Roosevelt team, then I'm out, right? It's like, I don't have any chance here at Roosevelt. I'm just going to quit. We even see that here in Rapid City. I'm out as a freshman, big numbers as a freshman, okay? And then it falls off in a hurry after that. So I do think football has a tendency to do that, maybe more than other sports. And then he says we're seeing some growth there in soccer, tennis, some of those. That's good. Not seeing growth in officials, by the way. I'll tell you. I go to some sporting events, okay? I don't yell at officials. But there's something, and I have to say, I think most people don't. Is that fair to say? The games I go to and stuff, most people don't yell at officials. Most. But again, there's a few, and then it's a problem because the few stand out, the few cause problems, and I do believe that's a factor in officials. I do. Quick timeout. We'll come back with Craig Maddock from Sioux Falls, South Dakota Public Broadcasting. The East River meets West River battle every week on the Nate Brown Show. We'll throw it around with Craig next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Rapid City Paintless Dent Repair is your local hail damage repair specialist with over 20 years of experience restoring cars to their pre-hail condition. Don't lose 30% of your resale value by having a body shop repaint it. Rapid City Paintless Dent Repair offers better resale value, has quick turnaround, and includes a lifetime guarantee on their work. The guys at Rapid City Paintless Dent Repair are trusted locals with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, offering free estimates and are conveniently located downtown. Remember them when it hails.
At Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, we let our customers do the talking.
Very well-maintained tire and speed shop, over-the-top service, and very reasonably priced. Need I say more?
Scott and crew at Terrell Tires have always gone over and beyond for us. Great prices for great tires. Also, anytime we've needed odd-sized tires for ranch equipment, Scott gets us what we need.
Great customer service. Spent plenty of time answering all of our questions, and the truck looks awesome with the new rims.
Terrell Tires in the Speed Center, 105 North Campbell Street, Rapid City.
Nation, we have big, really big news. Dish now has your local channels in HD and free voice remote. That's right, locals in HD with free voice remote. If you're tired of paying too much for too little TV that just doesn't fit the bill, call Wirefree USA at 343-3806 today and experience an expert who's happy to answer all your questions, whatever they may be. In these days of fast-paced lives and fast-talking salespeople, it's nice to know you can still count on your local Dish authorized retailer, Wirefree USA, at 605-343-3806 with folks right here in our neighborhood to tell you the honest truth. Dish offers a better value for the very same channels for your home, business, and mobile. Dish and Wirefree USA have what you need at a reasonable price along with your HD locals and free voice remote included in the same price. The future is Wirefree USA with Dish. 343-3806.
Voice remote requires internet-connected hopper. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service, and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
South Dakota Sports Talk Show on a Tuesday. Busy show tonight. If you missed this show live or any parts of it, we're live weekdays 4 to 6. The Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. You can find the podcast, every interview. We just had Dan Swartos on. Interesting discussion. Went through a lot of things. Participation to officials, sanctioning moving forward. Dan Swartos, Executive Director, South Dakota High School Activities Association. He was on. Casey Keeler on tonight, Sam Houston, head football coach. That was fun to talk to him. Really interesting discussion with him after their win over South Dakota State. Interesting show tonight. Catch the podcast if you missed parts of it live. The Nate Brown Show podcast, where you get your podcast, and also at foxsportsrapidcity.com. We upload it every night. Craig Maddock has his podcast. I listen to that. In Play with Craig Maddock, South Dakota Public Broadcasting. He's winding things down just for a little break. And then he'll be back. Kelvin Torvey, Post 22 head coach on the In Play podcast. Craig Maddock live from Sioux Falls. Craig, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Hey, thanks for the plug. Yeah, we'll take the summer off, and then we'll have a new round of episodes and podcasts coming up once school starts in the fall. I love talking with Kelvin. I mean, here's a guy who, he's from Rapid City, and he played for the great Dave Plouffe for Post 22, and a major league career that you didn't see a lot of stats, but he played in the AAA for a long time. Even was a teammate of Ichiro when he was a rookie in Japan. Fun talk with him. How does he feel about coaching what Dave Plouffe started? Interesting talk. I hope you can go to your favorite podcast or go to SDPB Sports on Facebook or Twitter and pick up In Play with Kelvin Torvey.
That's good stuff.
Thanks.
Good stuff. It's a tradition. That. What a program built for Post 22. Just a huge program in the state. I said this. That's on the cusp of this. Baseball is big in Rapid City. I've said that. I've known that. We've talked about it on my show. Is Rapid City a baseball town? I believe you guys in Sioux Falls think that. I think you think Rapid City is a baseball town. So then I say, okay, I'm going to do this poll. How many people follow Major League Baseball closely? I did this poll on my show yesterday. I just wanted to see Rapid City audience. 54% say they don't follow it closely or never have. 54%. Does Major League Baseball have some issues? I think they do, Craig. I think they do.
Yeah, they do. They do. They have lost a lot of the baby boomers, and they really have lost trying to get the young kids interested in the sport. Not only playing, but following. And a lot of that could be that little phone thing that we play with all day long.
Yeah.
And being on Netflix and other kind of stuff. But I do agree, and I know people in the baseball circles also have said that baseball is dying, and baseball needs some work if they want to keep up the audience.
Do you believe that? Listener text in, he said, here's the question. Is baseball dying or just not growing? There is a difference.
It's not growing, I can tell you that. It is not growing. Attendance has been going down in a number of the stadiums, and the TV viewership is going way down, and certainly they've kind of kicked themselves in the foot with some of those issues. But for the most part, I really believe that it's a sport that it's long, it is boring for a lot of people. They're not going to sit for 3 hours and just watch a pitcher, throw and throw and throw and no action. I mean, nobody's stealing bases. Offenses are down this year with home runs. I mean, but you know what? It is America's pastime.
Do you want to go to a Twins? I mean, do you want to go to a weekend Minneapolis and go to a Twins series?
I'm not interested. Yeah, I really am.
Why? I mean, you're a sports fan. You're a sports fan.
Yeah, and my wife and I went a couple of years ago to Target Field, and she loves going to Vikings games, and she likes to yell and cheer, and she tried doing that at a Twins game, and the people around her saying, "Hey, be quiet. This is baseball, okay?
Yeah.
Have some popcorn."
Yeah, go get some nachos, okay? We're just going to enjoy ourselves, and I hope both teams have fun, that type of thing. Let me ask you, I just had Dan Swartos on, executive director there of the Activities Association. Craig, he said, okay, it's no secret now, it's out. There's an officials shortage. We're having to move football games around and the whole thing. Why do we have an officials shortage? I believe there are a lot of factors. Some people point to the parents and the fans being very mean. I think that's a factor. The games I go to, most fans are good, but a few, are they ruining it?
Yes, and
you think it's a factor?
Fans have been ruining it for years, and unfortunately, I'm not pinpointing every athletic director and every coach in South Dakota, but when there are issues at a game where people are being idiots, and I see it more in basketball than I do in anything else.
Okay, yeah.
We have to nip it at the bud immediately. I've done this in the stands where I got people next to me yelling at the refs, and I will tell them, hey, calm down. And then they're starting to yell at me, and so now I don't want to do that anymore. So I believe a major factor, especially with basketball, is how fans treat the officials.
Okay, you do believe that. Is there hope for getting more officials involved? What can we do? People say, well, you got to give them more money. I think that's part of it, but I don't think that's going to solve it.
Most of the officials do this for the love of the game. They want to stay involved with the game. They travel together. They got buds that they get to spend a Friday night or a couple of nights a week working with each other in a sport that they love.
Yeah.
Money isn't the major reason why they're doing this. Yeah, they're getting paid okay. But if you gave them more money, would it entice more? I don't think so. I think more of it is what is happening on the court or off the field.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Craig Maddock on tonight, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, Sioux Falls. He's on Twitter at Craig Maddock and his In Play podcast with Kelvin Torvey at Post 22. Do I have that right? Do people in Sioux Falls think Rapid City is a baseball town? Solidify that.
I do believe that. I mean, and you guys can prove it. I mean, look at the history of Post 22, and then look at the stadium. You guys are building a brand new stadium, the Fitzgerald Stadium, and here in Sioux Falls, we got the Canary Stadium that is just kind of a going down the tubes, and nobody wants to spend any money. Let's face it. When you got 1,100, 1,200 fans per game going to a Canaries game in a town of 200,000 and a market of almost 250,000, that says something about the game itself and what baseball is like in Sioux Falls.
A sport creeping up, West River. Here you go, Craig. A sport creeping up, having success, huge numbers. Soccer out here. That's creeping up. I'd say baseball town, but we've done pretty well in basketball. Football's been another story at the big schools. Soccer creeping up, girls and boys. I think it's getting bigger and bigger out here.
Well, that's good. I mean, I don't care what sport it is. If the sport is growing, that's awesome. I like hearing that, whether it's gymnastics or softball or even whatever sport you name, even extracurricular. I mean, let's face it, if schools are getting more kids involved with the debate and all that kind of stuff and band, I mean, isn't that what it's all about in high school?
Yeah.
Enjoying what that extracurricular activity is. And, I kind of felt that soccer has been a slow-growing sport in a lot of parts of South Dakota, not necessarily in the Sioux Falls area. I mean, soccer's been big for a long time.
Okay. We own you in soccer. Just remember that. Okay, anyway. Yeah, we're coming.
Okay.
I'll give you football for now, just for now. Craig Maddock on tonight from Sioux Falls. Always good to have him. Craig, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
See you around, Nate.
All right, appreciate it. Craig Maddock, each week we try and do that. East River meets West River. We just got to catch up. I got to get some of that East River thinking. And Craig's a good guy to give me that thinking. He brings me back to why I love West River. Anyway, he said it was raining out there again today. We have a few rain showers around here. He said, every time I've been out in Sioux Falls, it's been raining and windy and cold, right? That's right. Who's hot and who's not? We got to roll tonight. We have to roll. We are backed up like you wouldn't believe. Who's hot and who's not, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch here on the Nate Brown Show. The Pizza Ranch Buffet open daily 11 to 8. If you don't hit it, well, you got to hit it on Wednesday. If you haven't hit it yet, Wednesday's Kids Night. One child 12 and under eats free for every regular priced adult. Wednesday night, that's tomorrow at the Pizza Ranch Buffet. 2 locations. In my Who's Hot category, here we go. I'm trying to help baseball out. Do you guys know the biggest story in baseball? Do you know it? It's not the Twins struggling. It's the biggest story in baseball, and they've got to start promoting it. Shohei Ohtani. He currently leads baseball in home runs. He's up there with Aaron Judge, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, 13 homers. He's hitting homers. Yet at the same time, do you know the story? He also has an ERA starting pitcher, an ERA like Max Scherzer, who's an ace, right, for the Nationals, 2.10. How is that not the most promotable? I mean, you should be promoting this like you wouldn't believe. Shohei Ohtani in my Who's Hot category, the number one story in baseball. 2.10 ERA as a starting pitcher and leading the league with in home runs with Aaron Judge. I mean, you've never seen anything like this. It's the modern day Babe Ruth, right? But I feel like nobody's paying attention to it, so I'll throw it out. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, this is a bad one here. This isn't a good one. You heard about this transfer, right? You heard about this transfer with Northern State. He was an All-American Division II basketball player, Northern and Aberdeen. You know Parker Fox, big player, 6'6" player, can shoot it. Really good. He was recruited by everybody since he said he was going to transfer from the Wolves. He goes to Minnesota, okay? So Parker Fox from Northern State goes to Minnesota. He's going to go play for the Gophers program. It just came out today. Suffered a knee injury, has to have knee surgery. Northern's transfer, Parker Fox, is going to go play for Minnesota in the Big Ten. He's out 6 to 9 months. The Gophers hoop transfer from Northern, Parker Fox, out 6 to 9 months. Knee surgery. Ouch. Back tomorrow at 4 on the Nate Brown Show. Thanks.